Are we streaming? Yeah, I think so. Looks like it. Yeah, it does. Oh, now the screen's okay. We're back. Okay. Never. I mean, it was fine. I upgraded the OS yesterday. What's it? Day before yesterday. And it's been a bit of a roller coaster. A bit of a journey. What's wrong with my to-do comments? Alright, that's a problem for later. Bothering me. Hang on. Config. And then yeah, just get rid of that. Is it Packer sync? Where's Packer update? Okay. Much better. There is a bit of a problem though. X11 doesn't work since I updated the OS build run. Alright, let's see what the problem is. Unable to find dynamic library system library X11 using strategy paths first. So does that mean I just need to get the library? All right, install lib x11. Well, the question is then, how do you include it part of the binary? So if there is no X11, what is the other library? How do you check that? Linux X11 version. All right, let's run this. Interesting. So there is X11. Build.zig. Main rail module. Pa, 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 pa. Okay, so I was trying to say it's looked in all these places, but I can't seem to find it. Find dynamic system library. Why is it dynamic? Zig, unable to find X11. That's a good question. Can't find X11. Okay, so I need to install. I had no idea. Maybe it worked before the update, because I think I always had. I must have installed the header files and not known about it. Get install. What is it? Lib X11 dev. How do you build? Say build clear cache. Okay. Okay, it still can't find. Okay, but actually it's just X render now. Lib X render dev. So I'm guessing I can just I'm hoping that's it. Get rid of that. Okay. That's no problem. Fail to init Linux state. Mhm. What is the file name? Oh, the folder doesn't exist. Playback. I think that should work now. What the fuck was that? Oh, because the window was trying to open. That's weird. Because the animations are on. Fatal IO error 14, bad address on X server. It's interesting that it attaches itself to the window manager, although I never ask it to. Fatal IO address. That's, I mean, it's a new problem. Read file, where is it? Create simple window, blah, blah. Wait, I never had this error before. Well, I guess just Google this. X11, what's the error again? Bad address. Okay, but these are like SSH errors. Might be a bit of a problem. IO error 14. Xiaomi. Let's put X11. Bad address error, which typically caused by bug in the application, or less commonly problem with the X server or graphics driver. Send to request X of invalid memory, address a parameter. Okay, I mean, it could be a programming error. Well, I mean, most likely. Where do I even where do I even start? Next client in synchronous mode. Trace the request responses. Okay, let's try that. Where is the document? There, this one. That's the previous after function. Hang on. No. I wonder if it's missing. Okay, no, it's still here. Next server, :1. Oh, what the fuck are you doing? It's not a site. Common error in Linux environments indicating a low-level communication failure between application and the X window system. What does this do? Nothing. How can I find out what causes X to crash? What does one do here? Alright, let's clear the cache and build it again. So it does try to open the window. I feel like I'm going backwards. Well, I guess it was expected. I have no idea what to do. I'm pretty sure the audio might not work either. Oh, it's a good thing I don't need the audio. I wonder if it's because couple S24 X11. Okay, because it uses Wayland. Does that mean X11 no longer works? I don't want to have to like switch. How different? Let's have a look. Documentation. Maybe it's easier. X11 application support. Well, I guess might as well just do it right. Introduction. Rely on the X window system as the low-level protocol for building bitmap graphics interfaces. Hardware libraries, most operating system kernel. Support for things like PCI, resource management, display. Scene composition, but subject to the limitations of the X architecture. The compositing manager as the display server. Wayland is a new display server and compositing protocol. And Western is implementation of this protocol, which builds on top of all the components above. Server, client, compositor. Yeah, it's like Pixmap. And then you composite onto the screen. Seems like on Wayland, the compositor is part of. It does mean I need fewer libraries. Don't need Xrender in that case. System session and embedding compositor. Wayland architecture. X versus Wayland architecture. Good way to understand Wayland architecture and how it is different from X is to follow an event from the input device to the point where the change it affects appears on screen. I don't know what this is. I never had to work with this. The kernel gets an event from an input device and sends it to X through the evdev input driver. Right. The kernel does all the hard work here by driving the device and translating the different device-specific event protocols to the Linux evdev input event standard. The X server determines which window the event affects and sends it to the client that have selected for the event question on that window. Screen is controlled by the compositor and may be transformed in a number of ways that X server doesn't understand. Scale down, rotated, wobbling, etc. Okay, so the kernel provides the event to the X server. And does it sends the event to the compositor as well. Strange. The hardware to do rendering. The X server also calculates the bounding region of the rendering and sends that to the compositor as a damage event. I composited the part of the screen where the window is visible. Okay. Decide which window should receive the event, nor can it transform the screen coordinates to window local coordinates. So the compositor seems to be part of the Wayland server. Kernel gets an event, sends it to the compositor. This is similar to the X case, which is great, since we get to reuse all the drivers. Compositor looks through this scene graph to define which window should receive the event. The scene graph corresponds to what's on screen, and the compositor understands the transformation that may have applied to the elements in the scene graph. Drive window. Okay. The client receives the event, it updates the UI in the response. But in the Wayland case, the rendering happens in the client. Interesting. With the X11, you do all the rendering and then just provide. Maybe, is it? I guess. Yeah, it happens on the server. The client just sends a request to the composer to indicate the region that was updated. Recomposites the screen, can then directly show IOCTL schedule a page flip with the KMS. No idea what that means. The X server from the picture we also removed, but there's a mechanism that we're already using, the DR12. Basic principles, code generation. I see a .xml. It looks quite similar to GTK. But it's generated, so maybe I don't need to. This looks familiar. The Wayland protocol is an asynchronous object-oriented protocol. Hang on, have I decided that I'm gonna switch to Wayland? I don't know. Well, maybe. Why not? I might try and... Should I try to fix X11 before? Shared memory. I mean, it's a lot smaller compared to X11. Data devices. I mean, at least the documentation is pretty good. I don't know yet if I want to switch to Wayland. I mean, I just started to understand X11. Hang on, let me check cloud. Just upgraded to Populous 24. Let's copy this. X11 no longer works. Is there something different in version 24 compared to 22? Get this error. Yeah, that was my guess. But not logged into a Wayland session. Actually, that's a good point. Does that mean it's running? So you gotta switch to an X11 session. You know what? Might as well switch to Wayland in that case. Maybe I can ask. Oh no, I still wanna like understand how Wayland works. Let's go here to do switch to Wayland. I think might have to start there tomorrow. This was like sort of like a test stream because I couldn't get OBS to work, and I don't know if how the sound is. So I'm gonna check the stream. I'm gonna stop the stream and check the video. And I guess tomorrow I'm gonna switch to Wayland. But that does mean I'm gonna have to rewrite. I mean, there's a lot of cleanup needed anyways. So I guess I could just do it at the same time. Okay, that sounds like a plan. I'm gonna stop the stream here. It feels weird to stop at like 30 minutes, But yeah, I just wanted to test to see if everything was working. Go to verify, and then I'll be back tomorrow. And I guess I'll start with rewriting X11 to Wayland, because I don't want to have to mess with logging into an X11 session if the OS is using Wayland. Alright, that's a problem for tomorrow. Alright, I hope you have a good one. I shall see you